I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can we please stand for a pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Notice to the public regarding the rules of decorum. Out of respect to all members of the public and student body who attend these meetings, we believe that it is imperative that these meetings be conducted in accordance with the well-established rules of public decorum. As promulgated by the state of New Jersey, the long-standing policies of this board. During some of our recent meetings, there have been instances of disruptive behavior and instances of the failure to adhere to this board's policy regarding time limitations on public comment. First, I will start with the time limitations placed on the public comment. Both the United States Supreme Court and the New Jersey Supreme Court have held that a public body may impose reasonable time restrictions on public comment during meetings open to the public. Consistent with the practice and policies of many other boards of education throughout the state of New Jersey, this board has a policy in place that limits each public speaker to 3 minutes. This policy means that any member of the public can address an agenda item with comment that is specifically relevant to that particular agenda item, when such agenda item is open for public comment. In addition, any member of the public can address any matter specifically relevant to the school district during the open public comment period. In all such instances, whether the public comment is related to items on the agenda or whether it's related to matters concerning the school district, the board intends to strictly enforce this time limitation policy as to all, and I emphasize all, members of the public. So out of respect for all other speakers and this board, please be mindful of this policy when you consider your comments. Second, as to the conduct of certain members of the public, our courts have also held that, and I quote, a public body may control its proceedings on content-neutral matter by stopping a speaker who is disruptive, who fails to keep the subject matter to the agenda. Outbursts, badgering, constant interruptions, profanity, and disregard for the rules of decorum cannot be tolerated by this board. As such, I must inform you that this board is empowered with the authority to order the removal of any member of the public who conducts him or herself in such a manner. For the record, this is a public meeting of the Bayonne Board of Education. It is 8 p.m. the 27th day of March. We're convening in the Anna J. Herbert Meeting Room. The presiding officer is Joseph Broderick, President of the Bayonne Board of Education. Those in attendance include Dr. Michael A. Wanko, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Kenneth Kopaz, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, Dr. Gary Maida, Board Secretary, Mr. Leo J. Smith, Jr., Assistant Superintendent for Business, Dr. Dennis Degnan, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and Mitchell Pascal, Esquire, our Board Counsel. Meetings open to the public. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Alonso.
Present.
Trustee Cruz.
Here.
Trustee Desmond.
Here.
Trustee Finnerty.
Here.
Trustee Munoz.
Here.
Trustee Ryan.
Here.
Trustee Villado.
Here.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Here.
President Broderick.
Here. For the record, adequate written advance notice of at least 48 hours given the time, date, and location of this meeting with the agenda was provided as follows. Notice was prominently posted in City Hall at 630 Avenue C on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements of the Board of Education. The board secretary sent such notice to the Jersey Journal and the Bayonne Community News. Notice was filed with the municipal clerk of the city of Bayonne, Mr. Robert F. Sloan.
Mr. Broderick, some questions. Okay. They don't want to go first.
Oh, okay.
They'd like to go last this time. Our students. We'll start with our approval of minutes and our acceptance of communications. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And there's a second, so we have a motion and a second on approval of minutes, acceptance of communications. And on that motion, Trustee Alonso?
Aye.
Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Okay. This evening, we have two commendations, which I would like to read into the record. And all our resolutions are on our bulletin board. Okay. Whereas Gabriel DeMaria, a third grade autism program Woodrow Wilson student, has won the Autism New Jersey 2017-2018 school year bookmark contest for the Autism New Jersey Ambassador Program, Autism New Jersey's cornerstone awareness program. Whereas the Autism New Jersey Ambassador Program seeks to spread awareness throughout the state, especially during the month of April, Autism Awareness Month, which is also Gabriel's birthday month. Whereas the 2018 bookmark was designed by Gabriel, who is 7 and diagnosed with autism. He wanted to paint himself with his friends. Whereas the Board of Education wishes to recognize the dedication and accomplishments of Gabriel, and be it hereby resolved that this Board of Education sincerely congratulates Gabriel. Come on up, Gabriel. He's still there.
Thanks for catch up to him.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hey, you do what I want to do, I don't like this.
Every night.
Alicia, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
And make sure the people in that get.
And they will do those pictures out with Dr. Wong.
I don't know if you can close in on this little picture of the bookmark that he did, so it's pretty nice.
Well done, yeah.
Very well done.
That's true.
Any extras?
I'm going to use that for my notes.
Who needs one? Because I have one in the packet. Okay, I'll move ahead with the second commendation. Whereas this Board of Education takes particular pride when seniors attending Bayonne High School distinguish themselves and bring honor to themselves, their families, school, and city. Whereas Abigail Isaac, a senior for the class of 2018, has been named a finalist in the National Merit Scholarship Program. Whereas Abigail's achievements are a result of her dedication and commitment to her academic studies, now therefore be it hereby resolved that this Bayonne Board of Education wishes to offer its heartfelt congratulations to Abigail Isaac on her, and I'm sorry for that typo, we will fix that and get her a new one, achievement as the National Merit Scholarship finalist. And this is by the Committee of the Whole.
President Broderick, I'll accept this on behalf of Abigail. With this honors, and I did speak to, Renee Bush, Director of Student Personnel Services, and of course our principal, Mr. Baccarella. And Abigail is the top 2% of juniors in her class on the PSAT. So this is a wonderful accomplishment, and of course we want to acknowledge all her teachers in the city of Bayonne for this. So good luck as she moves on to the finals.
Congratulations.
Next up is our consent agenda. which will start with curriculum, instruction, and policy. There are 3 resolutions, A1, 2, and 3. They were done at committee and at open workshop. Do I have a motion,
I'll motion.
and do I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second on the curriculum agenda. On that motion and second, trustee Alonso,
Aye.
trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Villado,
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
Next up is our Finance, Building, and Grounds part of the agenda. B, we do have a question. I'll ask Mr. Solari. David Solari, 16 Colonial Drive, has a question on Resolution B12.
B12 there, we're doing all the doors in the high school with the,
It's not all, Doc.
It's not all the doors. This is part of the safety grant we got last year. We got approximately $51,000 as a safety grant. So we're gonna do the doors that are in most dire need of repair, outside exterior doors around the high school campus.
are they gonna be magnetized to?
They'll fit into the system that we currently have in place.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we have a Finance, Building, and Grounds agenda, resolutions B1 through B18. Do I have a motion
I move.
and a second?
I'll second that motion.
On that motion and second, trustee Alonso.
Well, I know we like to save time, so I would like to vote no on B4. So I don't know if you just want me to put me down for a yes for 1, 2, 3, and then 5 to 18.
I would pull B4 and I'll move it to non-consent.
Okay, then I vote aye.
Just in the future, just give me a heads up before we come out, please. So we have a consent agenda, B1 to B18. Resolution B4 is being moved to non-consent. And I have a motion and second, and I'd like to retake that vote. Trustee Alonso,
Aye.
trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Munoz,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
trustee Villado,
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
We will move to the personnel part of our consent agenda, resolution C1 to C15. Mr. Solari, 16 Colonial Drive, there's a no? Okay, no question on C5, thank you. Okay.
So Dan, D'Angelo has a question.
Mr. D'Angelo, you could take the mic. Give me a second to put this.
As a follow-up, the question about B4, when it was brought up by previous speaker, it says that you accept and ratify the attached appropriations. There's nothing attached.
Once again, you had asked that question at the last meeting. The draft copy of our budget that went out to the trustees also went to yourselves and members of the custodial union on a draft. The original package, so it was in that original package, which was emailed out to you and the president of the,
You're just saying that that is attached to that
it
email?
was.
Okay.
So that was the same package that, I gave you the same package that our trustees received.
Well, when you give me this package, why isn't it identical?
Of course, we're trying to save 17 pieces of paper times 50 copies.
17 pieces of paper times 50 copies. How much money did you transfer?
Like I said, you had asked me to send it to you, we sent it to you. I'm sorry that you missed it. So, I have a personnel agenda, resolution C1 to C15. Do I have a motion?
I
I motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
On that motion and second, trustee Alonso,
Aye.
trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Bellato.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
And just to clear the record, draft copy of agenda and resolutions for the March 27th board meeting, prepared 3/16/18. Unions were included. Draft agenda resolutions, March 27th board meeting, revised 3/26. Unions were included. So they did go out because I was asked to do that last month, and I do what I'm asked to do. Okay, where are we? We are now on the excuse me one sec, yeah, we're on the non-consent portion. I'm going to ask,
D1 and D2 are going to be done in closed. They are confidential, private, rather pupil disciplinary issues. So these one will go in closed.
did everybody catch that? I'm going to ask Mitch, would you please get the microphone, repeat that one more time for the audience, please?
D1 and D2, our council is going to explain why that's going to be inside, not out here.
D1 and D2 concern private pupil issues that are subject to FERPA and Privacy Acts of students and parents. So these votes are going to be done in closed, and the deliberations of the board will be done in closed as well on the issue of the student disciplinary actions with respect to D1 and D2.
Okay, so our non-consent agenda, we had an explanation for D1, D2. I'd like to go back to resolution B4, which was moved to non-consent. It is our monthly resolution for appropriation, line accounts, and program category transfers. Resolution we do every month. I will not read it into the record as resolution B4. It is on the front bulletin board. I'll still ask the same motions in second. Do I have a motion?
I motion.
And do I have a second?
I absolutely second.
On that motion and second on B4, trustee Alonso?
No.
Okay, trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Desmond?
These are monies that are in the budget. They're just simply moved from one line item to another within the category in which they've been budgeted for. There's no new money being spent. Yes.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
I like to agree with trustee Desmond. As a matter of fact, trustee Alonso is on the finance committee, and this was actually explained during said meeting, so I don't know why this was taken off consent, but yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Trustee Bellato?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Next up is Resolution D3. If you'd let me read the resolution, and then we do have questions on cards for it. Whereas the Bayonne Board of Education's tentative budget for the school year 2018-19 includes sufficient funds to provide curriculum and instruction which will enable all students to achieve the Common Core state standards and the New Jersey Core Curriculum content standards in compliance with NJSA 18A, NJAC Title VI, and 6A-N. Whereas there is a need for a tax levy cap adjustment using part of the current year adjustment for increase in health care costs to be included in the base budget for the 2018-19 year, utilizing the amount of $576,497 allowed for such purposes. Whereas the 18-19 budget guidelines requires the board to formally adopt a resolution when using tax levy cap adjustments, including use of the health care cost adjustment in the 18-19 budget. Whereas the district is going above the 2% tax levy cap of $67,735,806 with the tax levy cap adjustment for increase in health care costs of $576,497 for a 2018-19 school tax levy of $68,485,000 $312,303. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bayonne Board of Education adopts the following tentative budget for the 2018-19 school year. There are copies of the resolution up here on the board, on the table, and there's also resolutions on the back bulletin board. And it ends with, be it further resolved that the superintendent, the assistant superintendent for business and school business administrator are hereby directed to submit the tentative 2018-19 budget to the interim executive county superintendent for review and approval prior to the advertisement of the budget and prior to the public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing is tentatively scheduled for the board's April 25th, 2018 regular meeting. I'll start with some questions. First up is Mr. Gene Woods, 128 West 39th Street. He has a budget question.
So, it's basically budget and contract. Today, we were informed that the first two offers were zero for the first year of the contract. This is what we were told. And then we were told that the next offer was minuscule at best, plus a change in the healthcare. I have a lot of concerns about this, leading into my question, because if the taxes were raised 6% and we don't have a deficit, I'm wondering, how is zero an actual option as an offer?
Mr. Clark.
Zero for the first year.
I don't think that's accurate.
No, it's not, but we can't go to the public.
Well, no, I'm just gonna say
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
I know,
accurate.
no, I know it was taken off the table, but I'm just wondering how that was.
Folks,
like-
let's,
Well, the first year, the board offered 2.79%, and our position was that it was subject to distribution on the current guide. Now, 2.79%, if the guide remains intact, covers the increment in its entirety, or it can be redistributed in other ways. In the second year, we offered 3.3%, and in addition, we proposed a change from Direct 10 to Direct 15, which is what all other employees at the Board of Education are now in. And in the third year, we offered 3.3%.
Well, my other concern is that when it comes to, and I'm not trying to make anybody upset, but when it comes to admin, we were told that when they do get contracts settled, that the percentage is based on their actual salary. But with ours, it obviously has to get streamed across the amount of teachers, and I know there are less. My question is, how long is this going to take to actually get done, to get us a contract? So that's my question.
I can't answer that question. As you well know, a contract is a product of collective bargaining. Collective bargaining means both parties negotiate, and they make every good faith effort to reach agreement. Sometimes they simply don't agree. So it could happen at a next meeting, it could happen months from now. It's impossible for me to make a projection on that.
The last, I'll just leave on this, if again, we are the priority and things need to get done, I think something has to get fixed. We cannot continue the route. I've been here for 11 years and I've had a contract for 3 years of the 11, so I hope we can get this done.
Well, what do you suggest?
well, unfortunately, we
I
are
think I'm
out of-
over my 3 minutes.
We're past
Sorry.
our 3 minutes, but we have another speaker on the same subject, Dr. Andrea Resitar, 22 West 41st Street, also a budget question.
Well, it's related to budget and the curriculum. During the workshop, Dr. Degnan discussed some findings from the curriculum committee whereby they were planning on recruiting teachers for a before-school remediation program to try to help students that are presently failing math. Right now, students can fail math year after year after year after year with no remediation in the summer, and then they come up to high school and, obviously the PARCC results are going to be what they are given that. So I applaud you for trying to come up with a program that will hopefully help students that come to my chemistry class understanding algebra a little bit better. But what I'm most concerned about is what you're going to pay teachers to do this job. ARMS is already in process where people are doing remediation for English, language arts, and math already. They're getting paid $20 an hour. All right, teachers, this is direct contact teaching. This is not watching children, before school or after school, before parents, can get them or, go to work, whatever. So we're one of the few professions that works overtime for less than half their regular salary. My father worked for the telephone company. When he worked overtime, he got paid time and a half and double time on, Sundays and holidays. So why do we continue to pay teachers $20 an hour to do work with students to try to get them to succeed? I think it's shameful, and I think the Board of Education needs to do something to try to raise that hourly rate, to make it something more commensurate with what other districts, in the county are paying. And I really seriously think that teachers should reconsider that they could make more money doing private tutoring, significantly more money doing private tutoring than what you're offering through the Bayonne Board of Education.
Next up, Mr. D'Angelo, you had a question on D3?
The money that you went above cap on is $576,000 approximately. What was the maximum you could have gone to?
Mr. Smith?
We could have gone up the tax levy 2% and an additional 2.87 for a total of 4.87, another 2 points over where we are now. That would have been the maximum without going to the voters.
How much money would that be?
Well, if a percentage point is
Just over 1.9 million.
about 1.9 additional,
Not the 1.9 less the 500.
yeah.
Less
So
than
about-
507.
Yeah, about 1/4 total.
Well, last night I was told that the increase cost the board $1.8 million extra this year. Am I correct? Told us that the cost to the board for the increase in medical costs cost the board $1.8 million.
That's correct. for that.
Okay, so if you could have gone to 1.9 million to cover that cost, why didn't you? Why did you stop at 576,000?
Because of concerns of the tax burden on the taxpayers.
Obviously.
But that money would have to come out of the general fund, which would be that much less available for the teachers. If you had funded it through this healthcare exemption, you would have had that much more money in the general fund.
But by the same token, we would have had to raise taxes on the public by that much amount of money.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to ask. How much would that represent on the average homeowner?
If we went to the 4.87% on a dwelling rated at $125,170, which is the average assessed value in Bayonne, it would have been $196.52 on the average tax rate.
190.
If on a dwelling appraised at $175,000, it would have been $274.75.
So you went up about a third of the 1.9, am I correct? 600,000 compared to 1.9 million? Right?
Yeah.
So that means the increase would be approximately $65?
But you're combining the...
I'm trying to find out what the cost was for the 576. It would be about a third of the 1.9
It'd
or
be about $40 between the.
$40.
Yeah.
Okay. So had you gone up double that, it would have been $80.
Well, 2 times 40 is 80, correct.
Thank you.
And that is all the questions I have on D3. Resolution D3, is there a motion
I move.
and a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second on Resolution D3. Trustee Alonso?
You know, over the past couple of years, as everybody pointed out at the workshop, that the elected board made it clear they don't like giving zeros to the taxpayers. So that's why I'm going to have to vote no on this budget, because it should be a zero. We got plenty of money from the state where we don't have to raise property taxes at all. And we actually went out of our way to go above the 2% cap and get a waiver. And we're even going to save some of the waiver for future years. So I got to vote no on this budget.
Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
I think this is a very responsible and respectful budget. It's something we labored over, and the only way you can take care of the bills and settle contracts and pay for health care is either getting your already paid taxes coming back into the district, or unfortunately, you sometimes have to raise. We tried to keep it to bare bones. I vote aye.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
As somebody who had to help take care, of some of the problems that were caused by repetitive zeros over a number of years, that's just, a zero at this point is just irresponsible. I don't want a tax increase any more than anybody else does. But on the same token, that caused part of the problem. Not the whole problem, but a piece of it. So to go for a zero would be irresponsible. Vote yes.
Trustee Villado?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
I agree with everyone up here, at the fact that we worked very hard on this. What we tried to do here is get the best education for our students with what the best that the taxpayers we think could afford. And that's not always an easy thing to do. I thought Mr. Smith and his group gave a very good presentation tonight at the workshop that was earlier. I thought he pointed out so many new things that are going on. We all know about how the healthcare budget has gone up significantly for all of us, unfortunately. But we need some new curriculum. We need security people, intervention, along with trying to settle contracts for every group in the city, in the Board of Education, that is. So I vote yes for this budget.
That completes the resolution part of the meeting. We have an open portion. I do have a few cards with speakers. First up would be Linda Taylor.
The students.
How about the students? Student wants to go.
They wanted to go last.
Oh,
You want to go last?
They asked me to go last.
Oh, okay.
I think,
Linda Taylor, 185 West 25th Street.
Bad handwriting.
That's okay.
How are you, Ms. Taylor?
I just wanted to come back again to follow up on the status of the hockey program. We finished the season strong despite all the drama, thanks to the consistency of coaches Boehm, Brancatella, Lukowitz, Brett Boehm, and Bodale. Now it's the off-season when it's time to start conditioning and preparing for next season. The program really needs to be expanded and continue to grow because we'll be losing more than 12 seniors next year. Coaches need to be able to set their plans into motion now and not worry about their jobs. I continue to have a vested interest. My older son will be a senior. My younger son's coming into the program as a freshman. I don't want to see the hockey program disappear, especially since we have a rink right here on campus. I've sat at these meetings and keep reading the newspaper articles, and I'm disgusted by the wording and the way things are being handled. In my opinion, the board members are being misled, information withheld, and it's no good. As I stated 3 months ago when I was up here, there were serious problems that were not addressed by the administration and the former athletic director, but the only ones that are being dragged through the mud are the very coaches that protected the students my son. Any coach would have to think twice about coaching in a program without the support from the people they report to. It's bad enough students didn't want to come to Bayonne because of the way the atmosphere of this hockey program was over the last 3 years. Bayonne High School offers an awesome educational program, from the classroom to all of its extracurricular activities. But we need to make it a place where students want to come to learn and play. I thought things were headed in the right direction, but still the accusations are being made. People's characters are being questioned, but you still haven't gotten to the root of the problem, which would have prevented this entire mess to begin with. If you as a board and administration are going to keep pointing fingers at what the coaches did wrong, then it's only fair to point the fingers at others who are involved who did nothing to stop the behavior in the beginning. This needs to be a learning experience on how to handle this situation if it happens again, which I hope it doesn't. Not a time to cover for people because of their personal connections. We all make mistakes. Own up to the mistakes, learn from them, and don't throw people under the bus to save your own careers and reputations. We need to get this program back to the highest level it once was, and I hope that we're all committed to that. Thank you.
Next up is Mr. David Solari, 16 Colonial Drive.
Good evening, trustees. Last month, Mr. Ryan said, if you see something, say something. Well, Mr. Ryan, they did say something. 2 years ago, in 2015, a problem occurred. They said something. So if you would have had your facts together, Mr. Ryan, you would have known what was going on. As Mrs. Taylor said, that the administration here has to stop covering up things, all right? Our assistant superintendent, he has to come out with the truth, all right? The individual that you were talking about, Mr. Ryan, did call the assistant superintendent, all right?
Sir, are you discussing a personnel matter?
No, I'm discussing what he discussed last
First of all,
month.
we went through this last meeting. You're not going to start personally attacking and calling out trustees. It's not going to happen anymore, or you're going to have to leave the room, okay? So if you have a disagreement with something that's handled,
Sir,
you could speak to them.
all right,
Just let
but-
me finish.
okay, good.
If you have a disagreement with the board on something, on the way it was handled, you could speak to that in general terms. You don't need to call out trustees personally, okay?
But when,
That's all it is.
all right, sir, but
We
when
went
the
through this last-
trustees make a remark about an individual that had nothing to do with it, they should be,
You can speak in general terms as to whatever you take issue with, but don't get involved in personnel matters, and don't get involved in personally attacking trustees. It's not gonna happen, all right?
well, I think, sir, you're wrong. As a taxpayer in the city of Bayonne, if I want to attack, it's like going to a council meeting. If I want to attack a trustee on something that they said last month to come back and rebuttal for tonight, is it because I don't get a chance to rebuttal that night when he's there to talk about
All I'm
something?
saying
Am I
is
right,
that-
am I right, or am I wrong, sir?
You're wrong with respect to personal attacks, okay? If you
But-
wanna take me up on it in the board, that's fine.
But then, sir, he shouldn't be attacking the individual last month.
I don't believe there was any attack on
Yes,
any
he did.
individual.
He said this was a shut case, closed case, that the individual was wrong of what he did. Am I right, am I wrong?
I don't think any name was ever mentioned.
No names were mentioned. Individual. That's what I'm saying again, individual.
If you have
So-
a problem with the way the program's going on, then you could discuss that, but I don't understand where you're saying he said this or he said that, because he really just said in general what he felt that it was needed to be done by the whole district, and just made that statement. I didn't
Okay.
see anything that
All right,
was.
let's go back then. In 2015, I believe that Mr. Taylor did go to the former AD. All right? Am I all right to say that still, or no? Or am I out of?
If you're gonna talk about personnel and
right, then-
positions, you can't do it.
All right, not a problem, because you're just gonna shut me down anyway, so I'm just better off just walking away and not say nothing. That's what you're looking to say, sir. I just want to say one thing, is that there's a lot of cover-ups in this administration here, all right? And the board just has to wake up and start looking at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solari. Who'd like to go, Daniel or Victor? Okay, Victor Lazaro, Bayonne High School.
Good evening, Board of Education trustees, Intern Superintendent Dr. Wonko, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Lopez, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Degman, and Assistant Superintendent Mrs. Smith. Winston Churchill once said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." I'd like to first thank the board, as well as the central office and administrators, for showing your support of our demonstration for the victims who lost their lives at a parking shooting on February 14th, 2018. For those who weren't aware, on March 14th, the student government held a 17-minute demonstration for each victim who lost their life in a tragic event. What was surprising was that on Saturday, March 24th, both Mrs. Sexton and Mrs. Temkin took over 30 students down to Washington, D.C. to march along with our brothers and sisters at the March of Our Lives event. It was extremely emotional to see hundreds of thousands of demonstrators on Pennsylvania Avenue speaking up and making sure our voices were heard. There were people, older people especially, who came at me and told me, and I quote, "You guys just made history," and as well as, "You all will remember this day." Fun fact, we spent about over 14 hours traveling. This includes traveling from Bayonne to Washington, D.C. With that said, I'd like to thank all of you personally for showing your support. Because this was really meaningful to see adults coming together on this horrible situation that's happening within the United States. But thank you I just want to say thank you. There's nothing else to say, just thank you for showing you the demonstration. I know I don't want to turn into a political issue or nothing. This is not a red versus blue issue, but this is like an American issue. But I'd just like to continue saying thank you for your support. Thank you.
Next up is Daniel Isaac. Daniel Isaac, also Bayonne High School student.
Hello. I'm going to make things smooth. I know last time it was a big mess. I know I came on 28th of February, last meeting, and I talked about the safety renovation. Thank you again, Superintendent Dr. Wanko. Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for the private meeting. Today, I was planning to talk something else. I was talking about, I heard about contracts, even Mr. Woods talked about it a little bit. I'm not going to get into the money or anything like that, but I mean, I know there's health benefits and things like that, but I believe that maybe teachers should get a higher amount paid, because when you go to a job, and you don't of course you don't get paid or anything the right way, there's two options. Either you try to get paid or you just, quit or find another job. So, and usually teachers, they're not just them for teaching us, but also for our generation, because, we graduate, we continue to become parents, and we teach our children what they taught us. So teachers are not just there, every day sitting there. They're also teaching us something that will provide us for our rest of our lives. And for a week ago, Jersey City also had teachers. They also had a strike about the contracts. I know nothing like this is going to happen here in Bayonne, because I know you guys are going to do something about it, but please, with all the respect to all the teachers here, and of course, out of Bayonne High School school district, I think maybe they should get more than they usually get, or at least a better contract. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Trustee Desmond. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Munoz. Motion and a second to adjourn. Trustee Alonso?
Aye.
Trustee Cruden,
Yes.
Trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
Yes.
Trustee Ryan. Trustee Bellato.
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
It is 8:49. Board will not return.
Dan.